Today we're going to be talking through the hip thrust and talking about what to do when you are hip thrusting and what to avoid, and potentially some hacks or little techniques that you can include to make them a little bit better. So number one thing with your hip thrust is that you do want to set your bench at the right height. The problem with being too high is you might not be able to lift your hips that high. So anything that's higher than your bra strap, so where Dee is currently, it's in her bra strap, you want to be able to position your body there. The longer the bar is, sometimes it is a little bit more problematic. You're going to find a little bit of sway happening. So you do need to be quite skilled and practice before you start going heavier if your barbell is too long. We've got the Brett Contreras hip thruster, and we're going to use this today. Number one thing for us females or males is you need to have the booty pad. So that pad just helps alleviate any pressure on the groin or the pelvic bone. What I'm going to get Dee to do is push against the pad and in her feet so that she's coming up together as one. Now from this position, we're going to hip thrust. I want Dee to show us a full lockout where her hips are as high as she possibly can. Can you go any higher than that? Okay, cool. When you are in full hip extension, that is when your glutes are activating the most. If you are maybe like a quarter below your top, if you're only thrusting here and not achieving a full lockout, you're not activating the whole glute max. We're going to do an example of where we would recommend your feet, and I might change the camera angle on this, but let's have a look first. So get back set up. Show us where your feet shouldn't be. Yeah, too narrow, too far away. So you want your knees and your feet to be at a 90-degree angle. And then also the other wrong way would be too close. So the reason why these feet positions aren't good is because if you are further away, you're activating a lot of hamstring. If your feet are too close, which you can see the ankles are further behind the knees, then you're working all your quads. So if you feel quads or you feel hamstrings dominating in your hip thrust, this is not what you want to do. We need to be somewhere in the middle. So your ankles should be 90 degrees with your knees. Okay, this is perfect. Now, if you feel still no glutes, I would suggest going wider. So go wider with your feet. And again, achieving full hip extension, achieving that full lockout at the top. You need to give me more reps. Okay, good. Okay, good. The other thing that I love to do is bands. So some influencers will tell you not to use bands, but we're not influencers. We actually work with people. So the most important thing is that you're trying to achieve a certain result. Now, you can put the band above, you can put the band below. Everyone's different, so you do what you need to do. Knees are pushing out against the band the whole entire time. We're also not touching the plates on the floor, so you don't need to reset every rep unless it's a dead stop rep. These are just pure constant tension reps, achieving full glute max, hip extension. Nice. If you find when you're hip thrusting, you're slipping lower and lower and the neck starts kicking in, look, we need to shimmy back. You may need to deload. You may need to teach that form again. And it also could be too low, or too high. I mean, you got to have a look at what your client's doing. This also applies if you're on a machine, if you're using a box, same principles. You want to achieve the same things and also not do very similar things. The other thing is everyone has different lever lengths. They have different leg lengths. So you may need to play around with the position. And this is why using bands can sometimes be helpful and going wider and changing your stance. Don't go too heavy at the start. You really want to activate your glute and feel your glute. If you start your sets and you don't feel your glutes, they may need some more priming. One thing we hear a lot is I don't feel my glutes. I think it's building that mind to muscle connection over time. So if you go too heavy too soon without building that mind to muscle connection, you've bypassed a step. So build the mind to muscle connection, make sure your stance, your position is correct, and then start applying the principle of progressive overload. Thank you for listening. If you like this video, make sure you like it, leave a comment and subscribe, or share it with someone who needs this information. And if you're struggling to grow your glutes, you know where to find us, ladiesatlift.com.au, and get your free introductory session now.